Hello, I'm Dr. Von Hoot, and this is a very special episode of Comic Book Addicts. We'll learn many things from the master, Scotty Vaughan, as he interviews a tremendous subject. So, strap in, sit down, and relax, because you're about to have a blast. Smoke bomb!
What's up, everybody? I love that clip. Thank you, Dr. Von Hoot, for supplying that awesome clip for us. How is everybody doing? It's Monday. It is July 1st, a couple days before July 4th, getting ready to celebrate Independence Day. But it's Comic Book Addicts 76, and we have an awesome show for you guys tonight. I cannot wait to bring the guests out. I also have with me tonight my best buddy from the comic book community, my comic brother, Collecting with Derrz here, joining me tonight. He's going to be hanging out and helping me talk to Ryan. Yeah, he's fully prepared. He's a huge fan of Crashdown, as am myself. So we're both super hyped and excited to talk to our guests tonight. A couple of things I do want to run through with you guys first, though. We got the Monday night lineup. Monday also means Monday night lineup. And we got a lot of really good comic book related live streams for you guys this evening. It all kicked off with Izzy at Izzyverse NYC with his comic book weekly pull list at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. He does it every week. He runs down the week in Hot 10 list, or the week in comics, excuse me, the Hot 10 list. He does a giveaway every week. It's always a lot of fun. Then, of course, next 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, you got Comic Book Addicts. 8 o'clock, we got Council of Comics with my homie C Bizzle. We got Cliff. Just a great crew over there, great crew of guys. Between the Lines, normally at 8:35 p.m. Eastern time, but they are canceled tonight, but we'll be back next Monday. So we'll miss those guys. Always a lot of fun on Between the Lines. So I look forward to them returning next Monday. 9 p.m. Eastern time, we got one of my favorite comic book live streams, period. I love this dude's live stream. I love seeing what his alternative picks are every week. But we got top 10 alternatives with 22 comics. 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's a great live stream. If you've never checked it out, go check out what his picks are for the week. And wrapping it up for the night, we got Cupo Comics, Will, with his Monday Night Raw books. Always a lot of fun. We got a whole evening full of awesome comic book community live streams. So be sure you guys check those out. And Derrz, how you doing, man?
Great, man. Great. Excited. Honored, privileged, and very excited.
Me too. You know, we got the CBC Awards nominations are now open.
Yes.
Another thing I'm excited about. It opened, I don't know, was it like a week, 2 weeks ago? It opened. It's running through. When does it run through? August? I should have prepared.
Is it October? Man, I'm a member of the committee, and I don't even know the end date. But the biggest thing you need to do is just head on over to the CBC Awards on Instagram, and all your information will be there. Marcus just hit the link down there. Big shout out to him. So hit that link. All the information you can be there. If you don't have a favorite member to vote for, just make your voices heard. And at the end of the day, it's all for fun. And you will find a new channel that you can share, love, and enjoy just like we do.
Yeah. Go over to www.cbcawards.org and nominate one of your favorite channels. There are a lot of really good creators in this community. So be sure to do that. Next week on Comic Book Addicts, we have another awesome guest, y'all. From the hit Distillery series, Derek Kirk Kim will be here talking about his series, The Last Mermaid. And I just read that this past week. I read all the issues of The Last Mermaid, and I love this book. And I especially like the axolotl character. Really won me over. Super cute, Lottie the axolotl. But I really enjoyed this Distillery series, and I'm looking forward to talking to him next week as well. But anyways, let's see who we got in the chat, because we got some people in the chat. The chat's popping off. See who we got this week. As usual, first in line, Las Crucius, 1971. Thank you so much. He came out at 11:20 this morning. So he says, good morning, hooray, and woohoo, as well as hello from New Mexico. Hello from Chattanooga, Las Crucius. Thank you so much for your support and coming out, man. We got Agu Rhythm. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for coming out. I hope you're having a great day. Are you guys getting ready for the 4th of July? Are you guys getting ready to celebrate? Derrz, you got any plans, man?
Yeah, I'm going back to my hometown because my hometown does fireworks right in my area. So I live about 20 minutes away from my hometown. So
sweet. So you're going to do some cooking out and fireworks?
No, it's like a big park. Like I said, my hometown, I moved out of there about 2 years ago, so we're gonna go there, but they pop off on the fireworks. So what's up, Joseph?
Awesome. Well, I hope that you have a fun and safe time, Derrz.
Same.
Joseph Michael
What
says, "What up, all crashing 2 streams at once?" Thanks for showing up, Joseph. We got My Comic Pops, best comic reviews in the game. Lorenzo Ross, Indie Comics and Reviews. Thank you for coming out, Pops. If you guys have never checked out his channel, like I said before, some of the best comic book reviews in the game. Also, speaking of comic book family, we got my brother, Circumstances, Marcus. He says, "What up, homies?" So glad to have you, Marcus. Thanks for coming out tonight. We got Tessa. Tessa is a nerd. I think this is the first time I've ever seen her in the chat. Thank you so much for showing up this evening. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. We got my homie Mark, Legion of Comics in the house. He says, "Question for Ryan: will I need the online to watch this show?" I don't know. I don't know what he meant. Do you know what he meant by that, Derrz? I have no idea.
Man. Most of the stuff Mark says always goes over my head, so I just accept it and love him just the same.
Collecting with their Adam does mention a good point. He says questions will be taken towards somewhere, a little past the halfway mark. We will be taking questions for you guys. So if you guys have any questions, we definitely want to be sure to cover those, but save those towards about, I guess, 45 minutes through. We got Fire Guy Ryan himself, our guest tonight, saying my phone doesn't do the emails. Uh-oh. Legion of Comics, will they still go over your head at the end of the stream?
Like I said, man, I speak facts.
We're just figuring it out as we go. We've got our awesome special guests. Skimming down through the list. Marcus sharing the link for the CBC Awards. Y'all be sure to go. So many great creators in this community. So many good ones in the chat right now. Tony Comaverse, another good one. He says, "Good evening, everyone. Hey, Scott. Hey, Derrz. Hey, Ryan. What's up, man?" Mark says, "Question: did a 5-star man write Crashdown?" We're going to find out. We're definitely going to find out. We got Lady Derrz. Thank you so much, Lady Derrz. She says, "Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate you being here." We got one of my homies from here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I run into this guy everywhere. I run into him when we're bin diving. I've run into him several times, and it's always a pleasure. Jonathan Hall, what's up, man? He says, "I'm here. Got caught up at work, but wasn't missing the stream." Thank you so much, bro. Tessa says, "I'm a first-time viewer, but immediate fan. Green flags everywhere here so far." Well, thank you so much. You are definitely welcome here. I'm glad that you were here with us tonight. We also got Squirrel Wars. Awesome name, and I love your logo. He says, "Hello, Scotty and Derrz. Happy Monday." I think that's pretty much covered the chat. And I wanted to keep the intro. Normally we do YouTube polls and a couple of little skits and things here and there, but I don't want to do that tonight because I want to bring the guest out. I'm excited to talk about some Crashdown, y'all. Sergio Giovanni, my guest from last week, he says, "Hey, what up, Scotty? Excited for tonight." I am too, Sergio. If you guys missed last week's stream, Sergio was such a cool dude. It was such a good time hanging out with him. It was a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming. I hope that you can come back out in the future and hang out with us on Comic Book Addicts again. But anyways, I think, nope, here we go. We got Bobby De La Ghetto. What's up, dude? We keep having cool people pop in. Bobby De La Ghetto in the house, another comic community legend. Let's get the guest out here because we got an awesome one, y'all. Our guest this evening, you may know from the hugely successful Comic Tom 101 YouTube channel, but that's not why I asked him here. I asked him here because Ryan, along with Tom, created an awesome comic this year titled Crashdown. This book was really good, y'all. If it really sank its claws in me. So I wanted to talk about this title with him, and I'm so grateful that he agreed to join us. Y'all help me and Derrz welcome Ryan Sargeant to the live stream. Let me get him.
What a legend. The legend himself.
Absolutely. Let me get you in the big seat here.
Ooh,
welcome.
That's me. Hey. I'm very thankful for the lengthy intro. I scarfed an entire thing of green beans while we were.
I saw that. It worked perfect. I was like, man, he can chase chilling. He's good to go.
I didn't know what was going on.
I appreciate the stalling for time. That was very helpful in my case.
For sure.
Also, Sergio, shout out. I just watched that live stream while I was working earlier today. That was a good show. You guys talked a lot about music. Which is not necessarily my jam, so I'm glad I wasn't involved in that whole discussion. But funny enough, I also watched your guys' stream earlier about Spawn which also is not my jam. But I made it through both.
You gotta.
What an honor, though.
I'm coming in hot. The hot takes.
Nice.
What an honor, though, man. I'm so glad that wow, you put yourself through the pain of watching Comic Book Addicts all the way through. Thank you, though. I'm so honored, and I'm so glad you're here, man.
You got a good show going.
I'm just kidding around. No, Sergio was an absolute pleasure to talk to last week. He is a musician and a comic book collector and a really cool dude. So it made for a really fun show. But for anybody that's living on Mars who may not have heard of you for some reason, which I imagine anybody here tonight knows who you are, of course. But for anybody who may not know, tell us a little bit about yourself, just to get us started.
Well, hi, my name's Ryan. I'm 35 years old. I live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. It's nice, like 70 degrees out and sunny right now. It's lovely here.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What part of it
in? Because I heard how nasty it is over there in your neck of the woods.
Ooh, it's nasty.
Temperature wise,
it is. It's been ugly lately. It's like 95 today and extremely humid and uncomfortable. So
yeah, pass. No, we got the good weather right now. I'm very grateful. But yeah, no, I'm a co-host on Comic Tom 101. That's probably where most people see me. I'm on the Trending 10 video that comes out every Sunday or Monday morning in this week's case. Yeah, I do a lot behind the scenes over there too, but currently that's my big front-facing role.
And for a lot of people that are coming into comics, you and Tom are among the first faces that I know I myself saw when I first got back into comics. Derrz was saying the same thing. I think a lot of people in the chat would replicate the same thing. And it's just that's part of what makes it so cool that you're here hanging out with us tonight, man. It's kind of tripping me out a little bit because I've been watching you for so long. This is so cool. It
trips me out to think that people are watching me like that. Like, that's too much pressure. No, we got to do different content.
No pressure. It's just full circle is what we were talking about. It's just weird how things come full circle because it was like 2018. I wasn't even collecting comics, but interested in comics. So your guys' trending list, just things about that, let me know what was going on in the world with comics. And then when the COVID bubble hit, that's what got me fully back into the collecting world. So
same. So
that's good to hear.
Obviously, I wanted to get you here because me and Derrz are both really big fans of your series that you wrote with Tom, the series Crashdown. So I just wanted to get straight into it. Where did the initial ideas for this book come from?
Well, let's see. You mean like creatively or like? Yeah. Okay, creatively. Well, Tom approached. Sorry,
I'm sorry. What? Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Tom approached me and said, basically, we have the opportunity to write a comic book here, and it's like a sure thing. Like it's gonna happen. And he wanted me to help put it together with him. Sorry, there's like a leaf blower or something outside.
Oh, that's what.
There we go.
That's what happens this time of year, man.
But yeah, he hit me up and was like, I have the chance to write a comic, and I want you to help me do it. You know, I want to co-write it with you because he knows that him and I are both giant horror nerds, and
oh, that's awesome.
That was really all it came down to. Like, he reached out, and we worked together so much anyway every day, so it was kind of a no-brainer.
Right. And
then from there, we realized Ben Templesmith is on the artwork, so we got to play to his strengths, which he does a lot of stuff with squids and octopus and horror stuff. So combined with my love for H.P. Lovecraft, it was sort of a no-brainer to do something in this vein.
Felt very natural, just reading through it and the artwork and everything, especially with him, because at first the only thing I've read or anything with Ben Templesmith, shout out to him. I met him at Heroes Con, talked to him for a while. He was awesome. Yeah, nice. But 30 Days a Night was my first like forte into his art. And after the first couple pages, I just want to say he was perfect for the artist for this book. Absolutely nailed the vibe, the horror tone, the sci-fi vibe. So big shout out to him, nailing that art.
Once you had the idea for the book, you guys went forward writing the book. You and Tom wrote the book together, I assume?
100% together. Yeah, we actually, it was funny. Once we knocked out the outline, pretty early on, I figured out the general beats of the story. And at first we were like, all right, we're going to meet back here in like a week, and you write some stuff and I'll write some stuff, and then we'll put what we had together and move from there. And then that didn't work. I wrote like a scene or two. Like, I picked a scene from the first issue and I was like, I'll try writing this. And I did. And then I came back and we both looked it over together. And even after letting it sit for a couple days, I was like, oh, this didn't, I liked this a lot better when I was writing it. And Tom didn't like it very much at all. So it was definitely like, all right, we got to sit here at the computer and do this like literal 50-50 all together. And it works quite well, I think.
Nice. That answers one of my biggest questions. That was one of the things I was curious about, was like, how was your role compared to Tom's role? And knowing that you guys were just sitting together, just writing it together was perfect. That makes total sense.
I was doing the sitting. He was pacing back and forth a lot. He thinks better that way, but
yeah.
I was doing the typing. He's great at a lot of things. I love Tom, but my boy is not that great at like spelling and stuff. So I made sure to take the wheel.
I can relate.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you guys were able to balance each other out, and it worked out pretty well.
Oh yeah,
that's cool. So when you had it written, did you already have the idea to get Templesmith in on it from the get-go, or was it something that you guys talked about during the process of writing it? How did Ben Templesmith end up in the mix? Because I think he complements the writing very well.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was on board before I was. Like, him and Tom are like close friends. Ben actually used to live up here.
Nice.
And I think they were friends before the YouTube channel even started. I may not be 100% sure on that one, but
wow, so they go way back.
Yeah, he said that like he used to go like play video games over at his house, like Resident Evil and stuff. Nice. And they have a good horror foundation between the two of them. So they had been talking about making a comic for a long time, but it was always some sort of background thing, like, yeah, we'll do that someday. And Ben kept like prodding Tom, like, when are we going to do that comic book? And Tom's like, I got all this other stuff going on. We'll get to it, And then it just sort of blossomed into reality thanks to the people at Whatnot Publishing that we met at Fan Expo Denver in 2022. It was actually almost 2 years ago, around this time of year, that we got in touch with those guys.
So nice. Did you pitch the idea to them? Is that how you went about bringing it to fruition all the way?
We did. So when they debuted, they had a few books come out all at the same time, and we actually conducted like the launch interview with them.
Okay.
In our hotel room. Actually, it was very hot and sweaty. I remember it very clearly because I was super uncomfortable. But we sat there and kind of did the rundown of their, all of their upcoming titles. And apparently behind the scenes after the fact, they approached Tom and were like, we heard you're thinking about making a comic book. I don't know how exactly they found that out, but they offered him like, if you really are serious, like, we'd love to, publish it for you. Nice. And, that's when he made the call to me, and then it just took off from there.
Very cool. Did you, what was the hardest part of writing for you? Because this was your first book, right? You've never written anything before, correct?
I've written some stuff. That's part of the reason Tom wanted to get me on board too.
Like, you have written stuff before.
No, you're not a moron. This is the only thing that's like ever. You might be a moron. I don't know, to be fair, but this is like the only thing I've written that's like come out, I guess. I've wanted to be a writer pretty much since I was 8 years old or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been tinkering away at like, screenplays and stuff over the years, and it's mostly just been sitting in a Google Drive somewhere and never seeing the light of day. I used to pass the time at work a lot just by writing scripts and stuff. So this is the first thing that's actually been birthed, if you will, if you want to use a gross metaphor.
I do. You are basically segueing yourself into all my questions, but my biggest thing was it can be obvious because of Comic Tom's standing, but why Whatnot? You said they were the ones that approached you. Why did you go with them, with like your publisher and everything? And was there any pros and cons with dealing with them specifically?
At some point, Whatnot and Massive Publishing, I think they teamed up to release Crashdown, and I think they are no longer working together or something. There's some sort of publisher stuff happening above my pay grade, so that could be part of that answer. But no, honestly, they were super, like, Tom and I used to joke a lot, like when we sent the script off, we were like, yeah, we're going to see how they feel about this, and I'm sure we'll have to change some stuff because it's a little graphic and some,
it is, which is awesome.
They didn't have any pushback. Like, they were more than willing to let us tell the story we wanted to tell. It was actually really a big relief in that way.
That letting you do your thing is awesome for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the horror element really is what really sank its claws into me. What really got me into the series was issue 2, when the guy gets that thing comes down from the, I don't want to give away too much
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
It's been out long enough.
You're allowed to
like.
spoil it.
Yeah, this thing comes down and like just rips this guy apart, and it gets really gory, and the horror comes in, and it that's when I really got into the series, because I'm a huge horror nerd as well. And we're actually going to do a horror show in 2 weeks with another writer. It's going to be awesome. But I'm super big into horror, and I nerd out on that kind of stuff. So I knew that this book was for me in issue 2, and it's been great. And you've got so many good cover artists. The main covers have been good, but then there's so many good variant covers for it as well. David Mack, trying to think, Tyler Kirkham,
Johnny
so
Desjardins,
many other,
can't forget about him.
like an all-star lineup of people. Did you have a particular favorite? When I wanted to ask you, like, do you have a favorite cover out of all of them? I don't mean to put you on the spot, because there's so many good ones.
Yeah, that's definitely like the cover lineup, I think, is the biggest thing that makes this feel like surreal, I guess, because David Mack has been a favorite artist of mine for pretty much since I started reading comics.
So good.
Not only did he do 2 covers for us, but he has been the nicest guy when I've gone up to talk to him at cons. Like he'll say, "Hi Ryan, how's the book?" He introduced me to Brian Michael Bendis at Emerald City Comic Con a couple months ago, he's been my favorite writer since I started, reading comics. So like that was a cool moment.
Yeah, of course.
Out of all the covers we did, like we've done a lot, 2 of them, technically 3 of them, came from me. Like Tom actually sourced all of the artists and all of the deals, and that's his forte. But I was able to make the connection with 2 artists. So I guess I would have to maybe do a 3-way tie between those 3 covers, since I was somewhat responsible for them.
Awesome.
I got in touch with Alex Ekman-Lawn. Yeah, he did a really cool. What put him on my radar was an issue of Swan Songs. I think issue 5 from W. Maxwell Prince, and he did the interior artwork for that book, and it totally blew my mind. And I just posted to my story. I was like, "Hey, this is a really cool book. Alex did some crazy artwork on here." And then he started to he just reached out to me in the DMs and thanked me, and we just started talking. Next thing you know, he did 2 covers for Crashdown, and the other one will be Martin Simmons, who is a giant favorite artist of mine. Met him thanks to Ben Templesmith earlier this year at MegaCon, and he graciously did us an amazing cover. All of those were store exclusives, though, so they're a little harder to track down. But he did one of the only covers that features Steve, the husband character in the book, who like
the one that ages.
His like cryo chamber screws up on the journey to their planet, and he wakes up as an old man. So Martin Simmons did half of him as young and half of him as old, kind of like Two-Face style. It was really cool.
It's one of the more unique covers. I will agree.
I love that one.
Now, there's so many cool characters in this story. I think probably my favorite out of all of them is Allison. I'm super curious, and I wanted to ask you before I even get to that. I should probably ask this first. The series in issue 4 kind of leaves off with a little bit of a cliffhanger. It kind of leaves a bit to the imagination.
A big cliffhanger.
Some sort of like tentacle hieroglyphics on a wall. And it leads me to wonder, are we going to see more Crashdown? I have to get that out of the way. Are we going to see more Crashdown? Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That's what it comes down to, I guess. We've definitely made sure to leave it open-ended at the end, and like
Smart.
We have plans and ideas for where a volume 2 would go, but it's not up to us, I don't think, at this point.
Right.
I think it comes down to sales and like how the publisher feels. And, honestly, it was a lot of work. So Tom and I are kind of appreciating the availability in our schedule. And we are trying to gear things back up on our YouTube channel and, start doing some more content. Maybe I'll bring back our live show and do other stuff for the moment. But awesome. I would love to have more Crashdown come out there. Tom has kicked around the idea of writing like a completely different story in the meantime, too. So one way or the other, I hope we will be writing more Crashdown or otherwise.
I just feel I see so much potential for where it could go, and with these characters, there's just so many directions you could take it in, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yep.
But one thing I noticed when I reread it, and I actually reread the whole thing earlier today because I wanted it to be fresh on my mind. And one thing I noticed for the first time after rereading it is this reads beautifully all together. If you read all 4 issues in one big chunk, It reads awesome. Do you guys have any plans by chance to do a trade paperback for the series?
I hope so. I think we're doing one. That's more of a Tom question than a Ryan question, but
Okay.
I would absolutely love one, obviously. But
Nice.
I also read it for the first time all in one go last night. I haven't read Crashdown at all since we submitted issue 4. I was mostly, because I'm so weird and obsessive, I was mainly doing all the proofreading for this stuff. So I read them a bunch as digital files. But once we submitted issue 4, that was kind of like the end of the road for me. So last night was my first time just sitting down and reading all 4 like physical issues at once. And it really does read completely different all at one go.
Agreed.
It's a good feeling.
I do want to add that one thing that was really captivating about this is the way you guys start and end each issue. Each issue is starting hook value, and then you have the 2-page spread of Cat Crashdown, and then you're always ending it with a jaw-dropping moment. So that was one of my favorite things with every issue, and that's why I think it reads so great in trade, because you don't have to wait, a week or two, a couple weeks for the next issue. But that was the one thing I noticed as well, was just like, man, you guys really nailed that opening page and that ending page in every issue.
We stole the 2-page title spread straight from James Tynion. He does that in like every one of his books, I think.
Makes sense.
Pretty sure every book. And it's like every time I see that Something is Killing the Children splash page, I can just hear like screechy violins in my head. It definitely like sets the tone. And
100%.
I wanted to make sure we stole that from him, like 100%.
So. It works, man. It works.
It really does work. Marcus, I hope you're still here and you heard that, man. Marcus is a huge fan of James Tynion.
That's one of the things we bond over. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I do have a random question, just because people are going to be bouncing in and out of chat, but we do have a couple people in our own community that are kind of going down the Kickstarter route and writing their own books and have wrote their own books and actually have a couple comics coming out. But is there any just random advice for anybody that, is wanting to write their own books, starting their own books, or just kind of that groundwork to start with?
I hate that my answer is sarcastic.
No, that's the best kind of answer.
Start a YouTube channel and get a whole bunch of subscribers, and come at it through a different way, maybe.
Yeah. Let's say just the writing. Leave the marketing, because that's for sure. If you have all the support, if you have a big IG, if you have a big following, that's all going to get funded. But I'm just saying, if there's anybody that they have something that maybe they've already wrote, but they're just scared to put it out, what's kind of a tip to kind of maybe motivate people to kind of go down that route more?
Well, I think one of the downsides of this industry, this hobby, is that like there's 2 big publishers that kind of overshadow all the rest. And once you get into the nitty gritty and you realize how many small publishers there are, like there are more opportunities to get your thing out there than you might realize too. I'm thinking of my buddy Mike Schwartz, who writes Armored over at Clover Press.
Nice.
He gave me an advanced copy of that book to read, and that book's great. And that's coming out through a pretty small publisher, Clover Press. So like there are routes and options. I'm not sure which publishers are like accepting just submissions and cold calls and that sort of thing, but it's especially in the digital age, it's definitely not as hopeless as it might seem at first.
I agree. I'm 100% independent image over everything when it comes to my reading. I am DC. I do read DC and Marvel, but for me, there's nothing that's ever going to touch storytelling when it comes to a lot of these independent books.
I can see that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Probably Image.
I'm biased. I'm Spawn. Yeah, they're coming out strong. They really are. So, and then you got Green as well.
Izzy has a great question. Izzy was asking, what was your research / inspiration in becoming a comic writer? And you mentioned H.P. Lovecraft. And you put him you actually mentioned him in the credits in the back of one of the comics. And so I assume H.P. Lovecraft is a big inspiration of yours, but who are some of your other influences?
Actually, Lost. I'm obsessed with that show from like 20 years ago. That was and
Crashdown kind of reminds me, and I think I've even heard you and Tom talk about, somebody else said that it was kind of a mix of Alien meets Lost, and I could totally see that. I could
Yeah,
see
I
that.
definitely I thought of it as Lost in Space for the longest time, and I kind of hate that title's already taken by a completely different story. But
Yeah.
yeah, creatively it would be stuff like Lost and The Mist was the first
Ooh.
Lovecraftian story I was ever exposed to, and that was kind of what set me down the whole cosmic horror rabbit hole.
Nice.
But as far as like learning how to write a comic, I don't know if that's what he meant either, but I read the book Words for Pictures from Brian Michael Bendis. That's a really good like book on the craft, and like that was actually one of the big takeaways in that book was like make sure every page you end with something that makes people like turn the page, makes someone care to turn the page versus put the book away. You know, like you run the risk of losing somebody's attention literally like every panel, so you got to be super precise. And another part of it honestly was trial and error, and I think that's why issue 1 is maybe my least favorite out of our books, because I think we learned a whole lot the hard way from the beginning.
Okay. It seems like I learn everything in life the hard way.
Yeah,
It's good
Same.
sometimes.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
It's the best way.
Trial and error. Yeah,
Right.
sometimes it is. Sleepy Reader, what's up, man? Thanks for showing up. He
Hey.
says, did seeing your story visualized by an artist influence your approach to writing or rewriting your further scripts?
Again, that's part of why the later issues work so well, because once we got the art back for issue 1, we kind of realized like, oh, Ben Templesmith, he's a professional. he's a legendary comic artist for a reason. Like, we don't have to kind of spell things out as much as we were. So it definitely impacted the later issues as far as like not overwriting panel descriptions and stuff, which I am very guilty of. I'm an overwriter.
And
Yeah, I've heard. I was going to say,
Sorry,
I've heard. I was going to say the paneling I've heard is the toughest thing, because referencing back to a couple people in our community, and that was the hardest part of just learning the paneling and the pacing of how everything's going to flow. So
yeah, we're guilty of like having a lot of pages that we're like, all right, and this is going to be panel 8 and panel 9 and then panel. And it's like, wait, that's too many. You got to like, there's too much happening. We got to figure out how to trim this down or speed it up. It's a learning curve, but it's fun.
And Tessa was asking what was your favorite cover. She was putting you on the spot just like I did a little while ago. You said it was a 3-way tie, correct?
Yeah, but if I had to pick, I'd go with the blue Alex Ekman lawn cover that we did for I believe Carnivore Comics dropped that one.
it's a nice one.
Yeah.
Nice. Now I watched an early interview before the book was farther along in the process, I guess, where you and Tom were talking a little bit. I think it was the initial announcement of the title, and you mentioned that it was going to be a heavy metal whatnot.
Yeah.
What ended up happening with that? Why did it not end up being a heavy metal title?
Something happened behind the scenes after, because when we first started making the comic, it was going to debut in I think Massive acquired Heavy Metal, and they were going to relaunch Heavy Metal with a new number 1.
Gotcha.
And our story was going to be released in installments like Heavy Metal does throughout the first several issues of that new relaunch, but something went south in their negotiations or whatever, and they never did that. So we just released Crash Down as its own thing.
And it was mentioned that it was also initially going to be a 3-issue series, but it ended up going to 4, which I think is cool. But what made it end up rolling over into a 4th issue?
We were always approved for a 3-issue series and then a one-shot after the fact. It was going to be like a bigger, standalone story. But by the time we got to the script for issue 3, we had 2 editors on this book, and both of them separately reached out to us and were like, you got so much stuff happening in this final issue. We got to think about like maybe figuring out how to fix this. And that was the cleanest solution that we came up with was
there's no way it could. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I'm just trying to picture if it would have ended on 3. I was just like, there's no way it could have.
And it kind of ended at the same spot. So like at the end of issue 2, when the general shoots Steve Bullock in the head, that was supposed to lead you into the final issue, and everything after that was all in one. So yeah, we screwed up big time in like the outline portion or something. So it needed that extra breathing room, and that is why the final issue is, I think, 8 pages bigger or something. It's a little beefier than the other ones.
Nice. It is it's such a good story though. I wish I could spoil more, because I could tell you the whole story all the way through. I really got into it heavy. So
I
I
just
wish I could
spoiled it a little bit.
there's so many cool
Right.
parts to the story. It's a really good
Something
read.
we haven't touched on as much as we talked about the horror and stuff, but for people that don't know, there's a very deep emotional depth to the story as well, with everything that's going on. Because I'm a big softie when it comes. I'm a horror guy. I love the
He is a
sci-fi.
softie.
But when it comes,
He is a
but when
softie.
it comes to like feelings and things like that, I love that in stories. I love really getting involved in that, and just the choices. You know, the crew members. Again, not spoiling anything, but everything that was going on as you're reading, you hear and see things be explained. You're just like, man, it's just like putting yourself in the crew member's shoes would be wild.
Yes.
So I think it's got a very deep emotional attachment as well.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I really felt for the family. The family, once the kid overheard that they were basically going to abandon and leave a lot of the people behind because things went wrong. I really felt for the family. And once they were able to get on the ship, and the kid sees the lady as they're getting on the ship to depart, and he starts crying, but she doesn't understand why. Oh man, it's just so deep. It's really good.
That scene was all Tom. Tom was all over it, writing that whole like hallway confrontation that they had.
That was a good thing.
The if I had to pick like my favorite loose thread though from this book, leading into potential volume 2 is what happens to all those people they left behind on the ship. And like just thinking about that gets me like so excited and like ready to go as far as like a sequel goes, because
that could be a whole spin-off tie-in, whatever prequel. Yeah, there's so much, because I was thinking about that too. There's a lot of different things that you guys have left off. You can go back to a prequel and show, because you touch on what happened to the planet and why they left, but you could go why that happened and what led to all that happening. So
yeah, we had thought about like when in the early stages when we knew we had a one shot to do after the story was over, we had that was one of the potential storylines that we were going to explore, like what happened, like a prequel issue, or maybe something that happened along their journey, like maybe somebody woke up on accident and lived their whole life and just lived and died on that ship all alone, something like that. I don't know. There could be options. Yeah,
absolutely. Tessa wants to know if you had to pick a different artist for Crashdown in an alternate universe, who would the artist be? There is no other.
There is no other artist.
Okay.
You know Ben, Tessa. This is his book as much as it is ours. Like he's perfect for this.
I agree.
I think he tried to get us to have someone else write it at some or draw it at some point too. I don't know if he was 100% serious. But he's like, you guys can ask someone else. Issue 2 or 3. Like I don't have to draw all 4 of these, do I? Like. He's a silly little guy, though. I'm pretty sure he was joking.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a very eccentric dude in person. I will agree.
Yeah, go meet him at a con. That's my recommendation.
100%.
Izzy wanted to know how much freedom did you guys give Ben as an artist for the story?
As much as he wanted, I guess. We gave him the script, and he didn't really, any sort of pushback he gave us was more like, I've done this a few times before. I know how to make a comic, and you guys are brand new, so maybe try this. It wasn't so much like pushback as it was like help or advice.
That's nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
there's a few pages where we were like in the beginning, for example, when they first crashed down, and we basically told him like 2-page spread, fiery wreckage, people screaming, monster tentacle, go nuts, like make it cool. We told him like, this girl, she's having a nightmare on this page. Here you go. Make it cool page. There's a cute little creature that they meet in issue 3. And
one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Favorite little guys.
All we did was say like, he's got to be, relatively short, and he's got to be cute. And we want to show that not everything on this planet is going to, trying to eat their brains or whatever. So like,
I thought he was going to
make him a cute guy.
When I first saw him, I even tagged you in one of the posts. I was like, this dude is for sure gonna go nuts. And you proved me wrong. Wrong.
Yeah,
he kind of saves the day at the end a little bit.
He does.
Yeah,
he
a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
But yeah, very cute character in the story. There was another thing. Oh yeah, as far as like con appearances, relishing the victory that is having your own comic book. How has it been being at cons now that you actually have a physical comic book in hand? Is it different? Is it a lot more fun?
It's like I have a fake ID. It's kind of what it feels like. It feels like I have permission to kind of feel like a creator. I mean, I am, I guess, at this point, but
You
like,
are. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel
agree.
way confident going up to other creators and like introducing myself and talking to people. And before, when I was just a comic fan, like I remember I went and met Mark Russell a few years ago at Emerald City Comic Con, and I love, everything he writes, but I went up to him and basically was like, I love everything you write. And he was like, cool. And I had him sign some stuff, and I bought a trade from him, and it was just like, all right, bye. And it feels like I have an excuse to be able to talk more with people now. I don't know if it's the book or if it's me getting a little more confidence.
And so has it been overall a positive experience for you guys?
Yeah, we've especially at MegaCon, which was I think like the week after the book came out or something, issue 1. We did a bunch of signings from different retailers who were doing exclusives, and we just kind of went from booth to booth to booth and sat down and just signed comic after comic after comic, and it somehow like never really like clicked for me that like this is real, you're doing this, it's happening. And I don't know, it still feels kind of like I watched a TV show where somebody made a comic instead of did it myself. Yeah,
you deserve it, man. Give yourself some credit.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I definitely wanted to show you some love while you're here. You're like I was saying earlier, Tom, you, Bueller, people like that are the faces that you first meet when you're coming into the comic game and getting into comic books, and you turn to YouTube trying to figure out where to go. Like you were one of the first faces I ran into. I've loved watching you guys on Comic Tom. It's so much fun watching you guys every week. And I wanted to tell you that I really appreciate you while I had you here. I've been watching you guys for years, and I really appreciate all the entertainment that you provide for all of us comic nerds. So I wanted to thank you while we had you here.
Well, of course. Thank you. I want to thank you for the 2.5 hours of entertainment you gave me today while I was working.
Hey, thanks for that, man. That was awesome. Yeah. Couldn't believe you went and watched the content. That's an honor. Really
I got to. You guys could be like psychos. I could have came on some crazy show.
You are right.
Well,
you are right.
Gotta do research.
Who's to say we couldn't be? Behind the scenes,
psychos can put on a mask.
You gotta wait. We save that stuff for backstage, man. Wait till the show's over.
Yeah. Try to keep it positive on here.
That's
while
when all the racial slurs come out. Yeah.
Never. Really going down the hole.
Oh, terrible. That's not funny. Not at all.
Black Spider. I'm sorry, Derrz. Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, I am proud and honored. It's going to be tough to see. But yes, I do have that one signed. And then I finished off at finished off that one with Ben Temple-Smith after meeting him.
Woo, man. That's
you got one of our old signatures on that first one too.
Yeah, that was I got that day one on Whatnot. So I'm a big I watch Tom all the time. I'm always watching him. I'm a big Whatnot's the place to go for con books for me because I'm a couch. I'm not gonna go.
Yeah. You don't have to go anywhere. It's nice.
Facts. So yeah, and then I actually ran into Johnny Desjardins at Heroes Con, but I didn't have my books with me, so I didn't get it to sign. So he's the one I need to track down to kind of finish off that first issue.
Man, he's so cool. I love that guy.
Yeah, same.
Black Spiders was wanting to know if you have any other books you're working on.
Not right now. Right now, I'm actually doing a whole lot more at Comic Tom headquarters than I was a couple months ago. I'm sort of, I guess you could say I've been promoted. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm doing a lot more like behind the scenes managerial stuff.
That's great.
So, I would like to write more. It's definitely on both of our radar, medium to long term. But like we were talking about earlier, there's definitely a Crashdown Volume 2 sort of formulating in the back of my mind. But there's also Tom and I both have been talking about what other thing we could possibly write, maybe alongside a more Crashdown or before. So there's some other horror stuff that might be that might come out, come out of our brain. I don't want to promise anything, but I'm not going to write like a Western or something or a musical. That'd
Western
be funny.
Horror, maybe Western horror musical. There you go.
we gotta figure it out because I would assume a Crashdown 2 would be Ben Temple-Smith on the artwork again, but any other book would probably have a different artist on the inside. So
That's
you
exciting.
want to play to the strengths of your artist. And Ben said, for example, I hate drawing cats. So, there's no cats anywhere in Crashdown. So we want to make sure you kind of work with what your artist is comfortable with.
And Bobby De La Ghetto wanted to know, do you have an Erica Slaughter custom Pez head?
I'm not that
What
cool.
a weird question.
I got the 2 deluxe hardcovers down here, but they're in the S's, so you can't really see them.
Those are
I got the mask. That's about it, though. And I got several T-shirts. I guess I'm a Something is Killing the Children nerd. Although I like the first part more than the second part, if I'm being honest.
I hear that House of Slaughter's really turned it up lately. That it's been really good. That's what people are saying.
That's not my favorite. I'm okay.
I'm
still reading it, but I don't love House of Slaughter as much.
I'm not on it anymore.
Yeah,
I haven't been on it for a while. Will there be more con appearances? Izzy wants to know. Hopefully East Coast, he says.
Not for me. Not this year.
Sorry,
I know Tom is doing San Diego and probably New York later this year. But yeah,
what about next year? Because there really is only one con that you should be going to next year, and that's Heroes Con, bro. I'm telling you.
That's what everyone says.
You gotta make it to Heroes Con for sure.
It looked really cool.
Yeah, it's the place to be. I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, but I've watched a lot of footage, and just my thing for comic book collecting, my high in the hobby is being able to talk to creators like you, anybody, just that face interaction and just being able to there. And Heroes Con is unmatched when it comes to those interactions. So definitely look into it next year, man.
That's my favorite part of cons too, is the creators. I don't necessarily care so much to like dollar bin dive or wait in line to get an autograph from somebody.
Right.
I love meeting people who make comics I like, or meeting people in the community too. Like that's a whole nother aspect to it.
We had about 60 members of the community, plus members we didn't even know about there. So look into it for next year, man.
Oh yeah. Well, I do have a signing lined up. Thank you, Tessa. That's a very organic segue you just provided me. Also have a cat, apparently.
And we got the appearance of a sweet kitty cat.
I'll be I guess we can announce it here. I'll be doing my first solo signing at Tessa's shop in a couple weeks. I'll be going over to Pennsylvania.
Now, what is the name of this shop, and where's it located?
The shop is called Cloud City Games, and she has 3 locations. And I believe our signing will be happening at the Palmer Mall.
Nice.
Let her clarify the name of that for me, but I think that's the one.
Let us know in the comments.
If you're in the Pennsylvania-ish area, I'm taking a little vacation. I'm going to go hang out with Tessa for a while, and one of those days is going to be a signing.
Nice.
See how that goes.
There you go.
It's only about 2 hours from me, I see. It's not terrible. Like 2.5 hours, yeah. Not terrible.
I'm being told the cat is not sweet.
No, she's a dumb. She already got up and is looking out the window again. She has no brain cells. Oh, and she's just bonking my laptop now. Thank you, kitty.
Shout out to cat owners. Yep. I have 2 myself, so I feel it, man.
There she goes. Stop rubbing my computer, you dumbass.
I see it moving around. And if you guys in the chat, if anybody has any questions that you want to ask, feel free. We got about 10 minutes left.
I did save one. I did, because I've been writing a couple down. I know I saved one from Sergio, actually, and he said favorite film, favorite horror film, franchise, anything along those lines.
Ooh, that's a good one.
My all-time favorite horror movie is Rosemary's Baby.
Ooh, classic.
Yes. And my more contemporary answer is, I guess, kind of like the unofficial, what I see as the unofficial remake of Rosemary's Baby, Hereditary. It's very much influenced by Rosemary's Baby, and Hereditary is actually one of the huge influences on Crashdown.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, we just flat out named one of our characters after the son in Hereditary. Peter Graham is the name of the kid who drives the car in that one scene in the middle of the movie, if you know what I'm talking about. But no, that movie is endlessly inspirational. I listen to the soundtrack all the time when I'm reading comics like a crazy person. Every time I watch it, I see something, I learn something new. It taught me all kinds of stuff about details and show, don't tell, and Oh, I love it. I love Hereditary. I could go on, but I won't.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Sergio agreeing, saying Rosemary's Baby is a classic. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I do remember I liked it.
Oh yeah.
I'm a slasher kind of guy. I like the got the crazy psycho killer chasing you through the woods in the 80s type person.
I like those, but the more I go back and revisit them, the less I love them, which is kind of a bummer.
I could see
Halloween was my my pick for favorite horror movie probably up until a couple years ago. I love Halloween, the original.
And you went back and rewatched it and it ruined it?
No, like I think Halloween still holds up. I just think I don't know. I hate being like a film snob or whatever, but I feel like slashers can only go so deep. You know, I need something more.
I feel that.
I like Scream. I love Scream. Scream doesn't get enough love. I think Scream has something more to say in terms of, depth and yeah. I like Scream a lot.
Scream is cool. That's true. And you don't hear people bring it up a lot, but yeah, Scream's awesome.
I feel like people are kind of embarrassed to like that movie or something. I don't know if that's...
I think that's probably what it is. There's like a cringiness, a cheesiness factor to it, or I don't know what it is, honestly. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I love that movie.
I like it.
I don't care who doesn't, but...
I always thought it was cool. And my comic pops wanted to know, do you draw at all? If so, is it part of your creative process?
Hell no. I don't know how vulgar I can be, but the worst possible negative response to that. No, unfortunately, I have zero talent in that arena.
We cuss on here. We cuss on here. I allow cussing sometimes. It's okay.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I cursed.
I don't know about that, but thank you, man. Ryan's awesome for hanging out here with us tonight. It's been an awesome time. Halloween and Scream are my two favorite horror films. Good choices. I love it.
Can't knock them.
I was about to message you complaining about you not mentioning Scream.
I got you. Don't worry.
I think they're coming out with a new one.
Films. It was kind of a resurgence of that type of movie. You didn't see anything for a little while, and then you got that, and then they start trying to remake Halloween and stuff like that. And
they ruined Halloween with the last one. I'm just going to throw it
like Resurrection
right now. Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Slashers are basic fun. Dr. Von Hoot's a huge horror fan.
I'm getting into a lot of the new horror stuff. Like Smile really surprised me. It's like a psychological horror. Really, really surprised me. I'm a big fan of As Above, So Below. I like a POV style horror movie. Like I'm a big fan of the OG Blair Witch. As terrible as it sometimes can be, I like a good movie.
Yeah, very similar horror taste to Tom. Actually, there's a funny. One day I just showed up at his apartment to do work, and he was taking a phone call, and in the living room, he just had Smile on, but with no sound, and I had no idea what it was. I still haven't seen that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I watched probably like 10 minutes of it just in the background with no sound on because I didn't, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I was hanging out with Comic Butch, and some horrible stuff happens in that movie, and I was very like concerned. I was like, "What are you what? It's like 9 a.m, and you got this freaky ass murder movie on right now."
I'm a two-sided. I like the shock value in a horror film, and then I do like just a good psychological horror film and stuff.
Now, you read a lot of comics like myself. What are some of your favorite series that have come out this year? You got any favorites that have come out in 2024 that stand out amongst the rest?
First thing that comes to mind is the Ultimate stuff.
Yeah,
yes.
Ultimate stuff.
Every single book out of the new Ultimate line has been mind-bogglingly amazing. Like I love all that stuff.
Agreed.
Even Ultimate X-Men. That was the one I'm not an X-Men person, so I was kind of on the fence in advance of that one, but I like Peach. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of her writing. I love her art, but the few things of hers I've read that she like Demon Wars or Demon Days or whatever her previous Marvel thing was. I love the way that looked, but I gave up on that after a couple issues. I was a little anxious about Ultimate X-Men, but it's a close second after Ultimate Spider-Man for me.
Oh wow!
Although Black Panther's really good too.
It is good. Yeah. Have you had a chance to read Avengers Twilight?
Oh, yes. However, my shop didn't get me my shop. I ordered the books. I order our books through Diamond. They didn't give me issue 3. So I have 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. I don't know when it stopped, but I haven't read it since issue 2, which is a huge bummer. I've got the trade coming.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
It'll be great to read it as a trade. That'll be
yeah.
great.
That's probably my favorite Marvel book if I knew what happened after issue 2. But like the between those, between number 1 and number 2, it was top tier Marvel for me alongside. I actually remember saying at the time, if Ultimate Spider-Man hadn't come out like the same time, I think Avengers Twilight would have been a much bigger deal.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I think you'll enjoy it when you get the trade. And Izzy wanted to know, what would be your dream project that is not your creation that you would love to write? That's an interesting question. I
hadn't thought of that, actually. Like a superhero book, perhaps, or like some kind of Marvel or DC book.
Anything. It's your dream. That's a dream project there.
I don't have dreams. Dreams only disappoint you because they never come true.
More of an aspiration, I would say.
I have zero aspirations either. Boy, that's a good question, man. I kind of feel like I would rather make my own thing, but I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is Geiger. I don't know if that's a real answer, but like I feel like that would be a fun world to play around in.
That's my favorite comic.
Oh, there you go.
That's my favorite comic. Yeah, I love it.
I've got the trade over here, but I also have the deluxe hardcover out on the washing machine because.
Are you reading all the Ghost Machine stuff?
No, I'm not reading Rook.
What?
I kind of regret in the
you should.
Dude, I'm getting like 20 plus books a week. My pull list is.
I know. Same. My pull list is pretty big, but I will say Rook is probably, and I'm Spawn. Like Spawn is all day for me. Rook is probably top 1 or 2 books on my pull list right now.
Shit, really? Okay.
Yeah, Rook is phenomenal.
It is good.
Rook to me, Geiger was number 1 for Ghost Machine, but Rook is like a few steps above Geiger to me. Like there's Rook, and then there's everybody else when it comes to Ghost Machine right now.
Damn.
That's just me personally. It's the artwork. It might be the artwork. It's phenomenal.
I do like Jason Fabok, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
He's great.
Every issue.
And you mentioned Martin Simmons earlier. Did you read Dracula? Did you check out that series?
Yeah, I got that up here too. There it is. It's really small hardcover. That's another one that I didn't get issue 2 or 3 of again, and I just now got it. I now have all 4 singles, but I haven't gone back and read the whole thing yet. But
I think they have it in the hardcover now.
Oh yeah, I got it right up here next to Doomsday Clock.
Oh, fancy.
At MegaCon, Martin Simmons and me and Tessa and Ben Templesmith and a bunch of people were at a karaoke bar, and he was just I was geeking out with him about Dracula and the art and all that book, and he couldn't wait to tell us stories about like the creation of the art in that book. It was cool to just hear him go off. He's a cool guy. It's nice. It's nice when somebody whose art you like turns out to be a cool person too. Too often it goes the other way.
Correct.
That is true. Yeah, that's definitely true. Well, Derrz, you got anything else for him? We got about 2 minutes left before we wrap it up.
2 minutes.
Anybody got any questions?
The only thing I got left is just I always preach it on my channel and stuff. And to me, time is one of the most valuable resources that people just kind of underestimate or don't really look at. So again, from the bottom of me and Scotty's heart, just thank you for just spending this hour with us, hanging out with the community. It means a lot. I talk about our community. It really does. We have a lot of people here, but we have a lot, and we share a lot of the same mindsets. Like you've probably heard of an event called like Comics Curing Cancer. Yep, you've seen that. We've talked about the CBC Awards, and there's just a lot of community members that we have a lot of the same voices. So we have a very huge voice when it comes to the world. But having people like you hang out with us, it just means the world to us, man. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Just thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just a guy, but
no, man. But
I like hanging out, and it's fun.
Like, dude, like I said, I'm a big softy, and I speak for a lot of people in the community, and I speak from the heart that time is very valuable, and just hanging out with us, it's awesome, man. We do appreciate it.
This hour went way too fast.
It really did. It flew by, and
it always does.
It really does. Whenever we get an awesome writer, artist, or just anybody, we've had some really awesome guests on this show. But it just goes by too quick. We got Immortal Biggie Shack in the house. He says, "Fire guy, buddy, what's up, Biggie Shack?" Thank you for coming through, bro.
I always forget that I've met you, Biggie Shack. It was a life altering experience. He's exactly how you would expect. Like what you see on the internet is how he is on the con floor. It was an experience. Yep. See.
And that's exactly why I end every Comic Book Addicts with the Biggie Shack outro, because Biggie is the man. So thank you for showing up, Biggie.
Truly
Hope you're having a good night, man. Tessa says Ryan's okay, I guess.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, we've approached the hour mark. Ryan, do you have anything that you want to talk about? Anything you want to mention before we wrap it up?
Not that I can think of. Thank you guys for having me on here. I'm glad everybody came on and had fun in the chat. It was a cool hour. It went real fast.
And when can we catch you? What days do you drop new videos on Comic Tom?
The one I'm in comes out on Sunday, unless it's this week, and it came out this morning this week. But normally it's sometime on Sunday night. And again, we're going to try and do more content now that we've finished our comic book and we can get back to focusing on YouTube. We're also in the process of like moving our warehouse. So that's a whole thing, packing up everything that we have and moving it from A to B. I don't know how much time we're going to have for content in the near future, but I'm looking forward to doing more stuff on the channel pretty soon.
Nice.
Excited I look forward to seeing it. Derrz, man, what you got coming up?
Nothing, man. Wednesday, I'm trying real hard. I bought my first collection, so it was like 350 books for like 20 bucks, and I finally processed them all. And I got a whole bunch of X-Men that I'm keeping for my own collection, so I'm super excited because I'm just now getting an X-Men, man. Don't haze me. X-Men 97 revitalized my love for that team, so I'm collecting a lot of that. So I'm trying to get that all processed. That should be Wednesday's video because Whatnot's doing a whole bunch of stuff for July 4th, and they got promotions they want me to try and do. So I'm going to try and do Whatnot shows again. And yeah, man, it's live every Sunday. Come hang out and follow me on IG. Follow Ryan. Follow Scotty. Show the legends some love.
Yes. Standard Up Comics. Thanks for coming out. It says, Ryan, you look so healthy, man. You've been working out. You do look healthy. You do.
I have been. San Diego last year was a big wake-up call for me. It took a lot out of me. I've never been heavier, honestly, than I was last summer. So I took a...
to hear it.
And you saying that, it makes me think about Bueller. Bueller mentioned the same thing. Like when he went to cons, he noticed how the wear and tear on him, and he got tired way too quick. And that's what kind of triggered his getting in better shape. And he's ripped. He's buff now. He
inspired me, man. And I just started... literally just walking. I put on some headphones and walked around in a circle around my apartment complex, and that's it. I didn't even really change the way I ate or like anything other than that. I'm not really going to the gym. Just walking around a lot.
Love to see it, dude.
It works.
Yeah, absolutely. Sergio, man, thank you. Thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate everybody in the chat. The chat's been popping all evening. You guys have been great. Anybody catching the replay, I do appreciate you. Definitely helps with the watch time. So I'm grateful for that. Ryan, thank you so much again, man. You have been an awesome guest. And Derrz, you've been an awesome co-host, man. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. You guys are both awesome.
You guys are both awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Just had to show a little love. But we will be back. Let me clear this comment. I got my comments froze up.
Get out of here, Sergio. There we go.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. But
it froze up on me. But anyways, next week we'll have another awesome show from the hit distillery series, Last Mermaid. We got Derek Kurt Kim. Awesome dude, awesome writer. Cannot wait to talk to him about this title. So come back next week, next Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Be sure to catch Ryan. I'm sure you guys all watch Comic Tom. We all watch Comic Tom. We all love those guys.
You don't have to.
Be sure you check them out.
I tell people to unsubscribe all the time. You got other things to watch.
Nah, check them out every week. Solid content, always been amazing. And Derrz every Sunday live stream. But yeah, until then, we're gonna leave you out how I always do with a little Biggie Shack. We'll see you guys next time.
I'd say that one is a banger, man. It's a real certified banger, dude.